Rode on horses made of sticks. I wore black and he wore white. He would always win the fight. Bang, bang. He shot me down. Bang, bang. I hit the ground. Bang, bang. That awful sound. Bang, bang. My baby shot me down.
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone...
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 26th. It's April. It's 2026. That's what they tell us. That's all we got to go on. So let's just roll with it. And it has been less than 12 hours since I made a video, which is absolutely astonishing, but events have occurred that I need to discuss. So before we do that, because this channel was recently hit with a takedown notice, I'm going to urge you to subscribe to my other backup channels, because every day, instead of uploading to this channel daily, I'm going to start uploading to each channel revolving. That way there, in case I get taken down, you don't lose me, because a lot of people just seem to have thought I went off the face of the earth, even though directly in the comments or in the pinned in the description is all my backup channels. Subscribe to my backup channels, because apparently I'm going to really start pissing these people off, and I'm not going to stop, because I'm not here to make money. I'm here to make friends. I don't even know what to say. But subscribe to my other channels, or if one of my channels gets taken down, you're going to lose me. There it is.
Stay down! Stay down.
So isn't that completely crazy? Trump sits down right after Caroline Levitt, I think that's her name, says there's going to be a lot of shots fired tonight. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So apparently some dude, the shots fired that you heard, the shots fired were actually by the Secret Service. Nobody fired any shots except the Secret Service, and they all appear to pull their weapons out and open fire on this ne'er-do-well who just comes running through, and none of them hit him somehow. That's not suspicious at all.
Yeah, that's the handler. So 40 just went by. It looked like he checked it twice.
Lieutenant Hudson, you monitoring this there?
Very good.
Shall I post it as soon as he packs down?
18, go for
Yeah, that's the handler. So 40 just went by. It looked like he checked it twice.
Lieutenant Hudson, you monitoring this there?
Very good.
Shall I post it as soon as he packs down?
18, go for
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that completely crazy? I mean, Don't worry about the woman talking like this, saying Trump's going to fire some shots tonight. He's going to fire shots tonight because he can't. That's just Donald Trump. It'll be fun. It'll be happy. It'll be regular old Donald Trump. There sure will be shots fired tonight, she said. Caroline Levitt, I believe that's her name. If it isn't, whatever. What a strange coincidence, because so many people have been talking about. Let me think. What was the last video I made recently? Let me see if I can remember the name. Well, let's jump in this real quick. If you guys remember, about a year and change ago, I started using clips from this guy, and I said he seems pretty decent. He's like the mainstream, but he seems like he's a little bit awake. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. I don't know what to make of him, because he stays well within the margins. He never strays outside. But James Lee has come up with this recently, and it's like, how long does it take to figure out the incredibly obvious?
Flag. Trump has just gotten up from being shot, and now the photographers are being moved into position. At this point, the camera angle basically stabilizes position, and then now you see the flag coming into frame, seemingly held up by this crane that you see in the top right corner of the screen. No flag, and then photographers getting in position, and then flag. Is Donald Trump a Manchurian candidate? And if so, how did they get control of a man who seemingly couldn't be controlled? And maybe more importantly, who are the ones pulling the strings?
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like, in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, the question does present itself immediately. Like, what is this? Was this always the plan?
Looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was. And it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler?
Yeah, what was Butler? Like, what really happened at Butler?
What really happened at Butler was Trump did an initiation. He had to show his allegiance to Israel. So just 3 days ago, I make a video pointing out the fact that all the mainstream truthers, the guys that were put in place, they replaced us after we all got taken down because we were saying too many crazy things like COVID vaccine would actually harm you. Yeah. I made a video saying they all seem to be suddenly waking up to the fact that Butler, Pennsylvania, the shooting wasn't real whatsoever at all. 3 days ago. And then magically, suddenly, all of a sudden, out of the blue, the Trump dinner is interrupted by a shooting. Now remember, nobody shot except for the Secret Service guys. You can see it. They all open fire, but they don't hit the guy at all. That's insane. That's insane. Every single solitary person that I met, man, woman, and child, that can shoot, in that particular instance, would have hit him at least once. But they didn't, because, it's not real. None of it's real. Trump discovers people are starting to wake up on the Butler scene, so they do another shooting. This is what they do. It's political theater. It's not real whatsoever at all. But the problem is enough people. I'm watching channels that I already unsubscribed to 3 channels this morning. Stoic Finance, somebody else, and some other dude. Because they're like, this is upsetting. Someone's trying to kill Donald Trump. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because you can't get anywhere near him, all right? Don't be fooled. Don't be... The president's having a dinner with all these delegates and important people, and this dude just comes running right in, and they all open fire, and they all miss. Yeah, shut up, man. I ain't buying it. But it's not the only time this has happened this month. You know what I'm saying? Another person, you might remember him. He's a lovely family man, married to another man, and they adopted another future man as their child. You may know who I'm talking about. He's a great man. He's Sam Altman.
OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, is the focus of a fascinating deep dive in the latest edition of the New Yorker magazine. The headline, Sam Altman may control our future. Can he be trusted?
OpenAI was established as a nonprofit. It was supposed to have a mission that was oriented around protecting humanity from a technology that people inside this technology, not everyone agrees with this, but insiders, specifically the ones who founded OpenAI, made the argument that this could wipe us all out. You could have the Terminator Skynet scenario of an AI goes rogue and kills us all, but you don't have to believe anything that extreme to understand the dangers. Already, this is being used on battlefields. This is being used to identify chemical weapons. This is being used for political disinformation. This is woven into our infrastructure.
Also, Dario Amodei has said the potential on unemployment for white-collar jobs.
Millions of jobs exposed to disruption. So the
Which
risks
nobody has
are
voted on. Now, I keep saying this. Nobody has voted on this, whether we want this as a society.
Well, I hope that this kind of discussion in this kind of piece can change that, because the entire reason that Sam Altman was fired has been insufficiently exposed and explored. We talk about a legal investigation that sort of cleared him to continue at the company, but it was all kept out of writing. And when you scratch the surface, what you see, Anderson, is a persistent pattern of colleagues earlier in Sam Altman's career and around this situation at OpenAI saying again and again that he was saying conflicting things to different people, sometimes on serious things, like he'd tell board members that features of a model that could potentially be dangerous had been tested, and then they go out and look, they hadn't been. And sometimes it's just interpersonal stuff, like you mentioned the Amadeus. Part of what deepened that rift is we obtained documents showing interactions where Sam, for instance, in one case, accused the Amadeus, there's Dario and his sister who also worked there, of plotting a coup. And they called in an executive that Sam had said was the source of this information. The executive said, I never said that. And then Sam, to their faces, as people in the room tell it, said, oh, well, I never said that in the first place either. So people really felt gaslit. And in this case, with a technology with these stakes, there are people who say no CEO should lie this much, and it's just a business management problem. But there are also people who say this has real danger.
Well, that's not good for Sam Altman, is it? Or his husband, or his future son that he was allowed to adopt, because, why not? So, Sam Altman was very upset. I mean, he just said that OpenAI was going to be free for everybody, and then it's not. And then he just said that OpenAI would never be used for the military, and now it is. And then he said OpenAI would never use advertising, and it does. And OpenAI loses hundreds and millions of dollars every single solitary day. Period. So Sam Altman is like the richest guy based off of complete and utter lies. All this dude does is lie. He lies about everything. Put him on an island full of cannibals, come back a month later, and he'll be the king of the cannibals, said one of his employees. That's a manipulative con man, like MAGA. It sounds exactly like Donald Trump. But just when everybody thought Sam was on the ropes, this happened.
The San Francisco home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has been attacked for a second time this morning, 2 days after somebody allegedly threw a Molotov cocktail at the property. Police tell us they've made 2 arrests after shots were fired from a vehicle just before 3 a.m. today. An investigation is ongoing.
Can you believe that? Just when the entire mainstream, the internet, was focusing on how much of a lying, conniving, sodomite scumbag Sam Altman actually is, now he's a victim. He's a victim. He got attacked twice in one day. But then they mess up and say 2 days before. But why not? 2 days before at 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody shot a gun in the area. Oh, must have been for Sam. And then the second one was somebody throwing a Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house. Okay, I've gone over this before. You have a large bottle, larger than this, full of gasoline, or whatever explosive you enjoy, with a rag on fire. You have to throw it at the target, which means you have to be within 30 to 15 feet of the target. Do you really think you can get 30 to 15 feet away from Sam Altman's house? Because I bet you can't. But what a crazy coincidence, because he was being exposed for exactly what he was, and then suddenly he's now a victim. So whenever you look up Sam Altman, you don't find those pesky exposés. You find the victim. The victim, a married man. I have a son. I have a son. See him? Yeah, I have a son. I'm a victim. I'm a victim here. What can be done? It's almost like somebody finally starts figuring out a year after the rest of us that, hey, wait a minute, Butler didn't seem real at all. You know, somebody shooting into a crowd with an AR-15 and the entire crowd just sits there. Hey, someone's shooting at us with a AR-15, which is loud. Let's just sit here and look back and forth, and then we'll duck the president down. He'll tell us to put his shoes back on, even though we didn't tackle him and knock him out of his shoes. We just pushed him down, and he came back up with a little bit of blood, and he said, fight, fight, fight. Yeah, it's almost actually, no, it's not almost exactly. It's exactly the same thing. This is political theater. Puppets on a string, muñetas. It's not real. This is all a spell, and some of us apparently are completely immune to it, but this is crazy, the lengths that they are willing to go to. Trump is bringing in, he is, yes, he's bringing in absolute, utter chaos. Now, why would he do that? Order ab cow. Order out of chaos. That's what all this is. All this is. You know what I mean? There's stories going around that, oh, Trump doesn't want to fight Iran anymore. No, they're just recalculating right now. Don't worry about that. They could have went in and got the uranium that Iran was using to make a nuclear bomb, even though Iran religiously couldn't make a bomb. They couldn't make a bomb. They were not allowed to. I can't remember the fatwa, I believe, against making a nuclear weapon. If there was really uranium, if there were really nuclear weapons, if Iran was really the enemy, how come they didn't just use the discombobulator that Donald Trump used in Venezuela, where 20 special forces guys took out hundreds of armed Venezuelan troops because they couldn't even fire their weapons because their brain-blood barrier was swollen. They couldn't focus. They were bleeding out of their noses and mouths. How come they didn't just use that? Because they don't want to win this war. That's the entire point. But I digress.
President Trump just told the New York Post that a secret new U.S. weapon was used in that operation that captured Maduro to shut down Venezuelan equipment. He said the discombobulator.
About the weapon, the discombobulator. What is that?
Discombobulator, well, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
But what does it do?
Let me just tell you, you know what it does? None of their equipment works. That's what it does.
Now, do you remember the dozens and dozens of times that I said they don't care if we're armed because they have technology that would make you forget how to use your weapon? Your weapon would be no good if you couldn't figure out how to pick it up or how to aim or fire it. The discombobulator. These things are completely banned due to the Geneva Convention, but that doesn't stop Israel or America from doing whatever they want at all times. Constantly. You know what I'm saying? Constantly. They have an agenda they have to get to, and they will. 7 months ago, on the whitehouse.gov, it said, we have destroyed their capabilities. Anybody saying anything otherwise is fake news. And then we go attack Iran. Completely ass backwards because Trump doesn't want to win. That's not the point. The point is actually to destroy Israel and to destroy America because in their minds, that will bring back the return of Christ, which means it'll bring back their Mashiach, which is the Antichrist. Do you see what they're doing here? Do you see the symphony being played right now? It's astonishing that this is all happening in real time. But with all that out of the way, I guess, let's jump over to this real quick. Maybe you know or maybe you don't know, but this right here is in your neighborhood and it's a flock camera. What do flock cameras do? Well, Richie, they save people, they help law enforcement, blah, blah, blah. No, actually they don't. Flock cameras are every place. They're a little black pole with a solar panel on top and a camera with a hose clamp holding it on there, okay? The one I just showed you was in the most off the beaten track, off grid place down in Mississippi. You would never expect it. I rode right by it on my mountain bike. Flock cameras there's 93,000 of them all over the United States already. They're owned by a private company. They can be hacked. Someone can watch you all the time. And then these are for when they do energy lockdowns. So you can't travel anywhere. But it's even, worse than that. Hard-boiled eggs will do that to you. It's even worse than that. Check this out.
Tonight, we get a little glimpse into the dystopian future. A Coloradan keeps getting pulled over because flock surveillance cameras tell police he has an active warrant. He doesn't, but he can't convince the surveillance network to leave him alone. Our Spencer Soysher has that.
Over here, they zipped out of nowhere and immediately got behind me with the lights flashing.
There was no crime committed.
No, I don't have a warrant.
But Kyle Dosman is getting used to sitting in his car.
I don't think this warrant has been on this car for very long.
And answering questions.
I continually am getting pulled over. I can't really use my truck in any fashion.
Kyle made sure his dash cam was recording yesterday after Cherry Hills Village police officers pulled him over near the same area Saturday.
Hello. Oh, we got you last week.
Yeah.
For the warrant.
Oh. I was driving through here yesterday, and I got pulled over again. It was actually by the same officer. You need my license?
No.
Okay.
I remember you, man.
Okay.
The Cherry Hills Village police say the Gilpin County Sheriff has a warrant out with Kyle's plate, and it was put on a flock camera hot list.
Everywhere in the state, every time I pass a camera, they get alerts in their car that I'm in the area.
The flock cameras did alert to his license plate being associated to a warrant.
Cherry Hills Village Police Chief Jason Lyon says when anyone with a warrant passes one of their flock cameras, they get an alert, but that Kyle doesn't actually have a warrant.
Nobody should be stopped when there's no legitimate law enforcement purpose for that.
Kyle has called both the Gilpin County courts and sheriff's office to get off the list, but they've told him he needs to know who the warrant is for, which nobody can tell him.
Yeah, all I know is I'm in this system now, and there's really no easy way to get out of the system once you're in it.
So he continues to drive around, fearing when he's going to be stopped for questions again.
I don't know what this guy did to get a warrant, so I don't really know what the police response is going to be.
Now, recently I posted this video on for my Patreons, and let me show it to you.
Over in the UK, they set up these cameras to charge people. It reads your number plate and they charge them for driving in the intercity areas, something about climate change. And the locals, people were like, no, we don't agree with this. We're not going to pay any more taxes. We pay enough as it is. Why would you do this? So they go around, they're cutting them down everywhere. The police have to admit that they can't keep up with it. They're starting to reuse the parts from old ones, broken ones. The people are winning here.
So the people in the UK are taking these things down because they're very, very flimsy. But the point is, this poor guy in Colorado is being harassed by the cops. They keep pulling him over and over and over again, even though he didn't do anything wrong. There was no traffic stop where they ran his numbers or anything like that. Nope. He's just driving along. All of a sudden, the cops light him up. You've got a warrant. Well, the warrant's not for him. He can't figure out who it's actually for. And what if it's for someone that shot a police officer or something like that? How do you think the cops are going to respond? This is completely and utterly crazy. It's 100% privately owned. Of course, it can be 100% hacked, and creepy assholes like, the people in charge, the Epstein class, can watch your children at a swimming pool, at a ballerina studio, at a church convention. Why do I say that? Because those are all things that have already occurred. This is way beyond the pale, but this is for Agenda 2030. They are not stopping whatsoever at all. Do you remember this?
A dangerous subversive elite has managed to infiltrate the highest levels of Western institutions and governments to implement the criminal plan of the Agenda 2030. In many self-proclaimed democratic states, the voices denouncing this global coup are being silenced through censorship, intimidation, psychiatrization, and even arrest. Among the victims of the totalitarian regime quietly establishing itself in Europe, Canada, Australia, and other vassal nations of the United Nations, NATO, World Health Organization, and World Economic Forum, all private entity funded by the same powers, is lawyer Rainer Fulmich, unjustly imprisoned and still awaiting for a fair trial. His crime is having dared to speak the truth in a world of criminal lies. I call on Catholics and all people of goodwill to raise their voices in defense of those persecuted by the globalist regime. It is not Attorney Fulmich who should be imprisoned, but those who committed the greatest crime ever against humanity: Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, George Soros, Ursula von der Leyen, Albert Bourla, and all their accomplices and emissaries, especially those in institutional positions. Free Rainer Fulmich.
The current pandemic has brought unimaginable devastation to people's lives, livelihoods, and national economies. At the same time, the green recovery represents an unprecedented opportunity to rethink and reset the ways in which we live and do business. Now, I've long believed that we need a shift in our economic model that places nature and the world's transition to net zero at the heart of how we operate, prioritizing the pursuit of sustainable, inclusive growth in the decades to come. Having been championing climate action now for the last, I suppose 40 years, I can tell you that this isn't a fight for the faint-hearted. However, increasingly we are seeing more and more businesses, investors and consumers prioritizing sustainability and thus creating a much more virtuous circle of supply and demand. By leveraging market forces and the immense resources of the private sector, there is hope that we can transform the situation. But I'm afraid we are literally at the last hour, and there is real urgency for action. We know now what we have to do to rescue the situation, rather than going on talking about it.
Joining me now is Ned Ryan, American CEO. Ned, great to see you tonight. It seems that the goal of this crowd is to kind of create the same panic about climate change that they successfully created around COVID. Do I have this wrong?
No, you have it correct. I mean, first of all, we have to accept the World Economic Forum is a fanatical political organization that uses fear and manipulation like COVID hysteria, like the hoax of global warming, to really facilitate people thinking that somehow they're the saviors, but really all you're doing is helping them accomplish their goal, which really is a global public-private fascist movement and fusion of big government, big tech, big money to create a technocratic ruling elite, which conveniently is them. And really, Laura, if you want to look at a different way, too, with the World Economic Forum, they want to create feudalism 2.0, in which we are serfs and they are the lords ruling over us. You'll have nothing and be happy is one of the things that comes out of Davos. That's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for feudalism in which we are serfs and we should be happy that they are ruling over us.
That order seems to not be the order anymore. We are on the way to a new order, so we are between orders. Do you agree with that, or are there ways of what are we able to keep on the positive side from the old order to bring into a new world order, and how can we avoid that new world order becomes like a jungle growing back, and we rather have an order based on international law and the principles that have brought us prosperity and freedom for decades?
I guess, and maybe this is the old kind of teacher in me coming out. I think of this a little bit more about a transition of eras rather than a transition of orders, but the two are kind of cousins of one another. The reason I draw the distinction is because I don't think the international order built after 1945 is getting replaced wholesale with some new order. It will obviously evolve as it has evolved multiple times over the decade since 1945. But I do think in a more sharp and distinctive way, we are moving into a new era, and that's what I talked about in my remarks, that we are, the post-Cold War era has come to a close. We're at the start of something new. We have the capacity to shape what that looks like, and at the heart of it will be many of the core principles and core institutions of the existing order, adapted for the challenges that we face today.
It's hilarious that they even continue to beat this drum at the World Economic Forum and all their little secret, Epstein meetups, because it's always, these people are scum of the earth. Scum of the earth. They don't know how to do anything. They can't complete a task. All they do is talk and lie and do satanic rituals and take advantage of underage people. They traffic them. They sacrifice them. They do unspeakable things to them. That's what they do. That's what they are. But the fact that they're going to institute Agenda 2030, which will 100% restrict what you're allowed to do on this earth based on your carbon footprint. Meanwhile, we have 11,355 data centers going up every single day. More are being added. And these things are the epitome of polluting the earth in every way possible. Not only do they pollute the atmosphere, they destroy the groundwater. They are using so much electricity, it's utterly insane. So they're saying you got to stop eating food because of climate change, but then they're actually making things that appear to be climate change machines. Do you see what I'm saying? These people are liars. They worship the father of all lies. I've lied a lot in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? I lied a lot in my lifetime. It started when I was very young. Because when you're getting beaten, malnourished, and tortured at home growing up, when you go to school and you see your friends there, and Chris and everybody else, you have to lie. And as a child, it is what it is. What am I going to say? Yeah, my parents would beat you. Don't talk about that stuff back in those days. I just tried to fit in and it didn't really work out, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I've repented for those ways, period. And I've been doing this for a long time, period. So understand that everything that they say is a complete lie. Their agenda is inching ever so closely. We're almost at halfway point in 2026. 2026 just started about 15 minutes ago. We're almost to the halfway point. 2027, I don't even see that happening the way we think it's going to happen. Something horrible this way comes. June, we have Disclosure Day movie coming out. And then a week later, we have a UFC fight at the White House where all eyes will be watching thanks to Larry Ellison's son, David, buying Paramount Plus, which bought the UFC. So UFC is no longer pay-per-view, it's free for all. Everyone's going to be watching that because it's going to be a spectacle. We've never had 4,000 people on the lawn of the White House fighting. They can't even keep one gunman out of the place, but we're going to have 4,000 people. Think about that. Think about that. Or don't. I didn't plan on making a video quite this long, but I'm on a roll, so whatever. Again, subscribe to my backup channels. The links will be pinned in the comments below. If you want to help me out on the road, my Cash App will be below, my PayPal will be below, and my Patreon will be below. And if you can't do anything, do this. I just talked to a guy named Sam who works at a shop in Missouri, and he was very excited to meet me, and he said, I pray for you all the time. And I thanked him from the bottom of my heart, because if you can't help in any way, you can pray. And I feel those prayers. And when you're making videos like I'm making, you are a target. Period. They don't want you hearing this stuff whatsoever at all, man. You know what I mean? And I've been doing this for a long time. If you can't do anything else, pray to God, because there is a great delusion that will be coming soon. I believe we're already under the strong delusion, but there will be something that will make even the very elect to be deceived, if that were possible. hit your knees every day. Whenever you think of it, pray to God. Pray to God earnestly and with an open heart, and ask God to guide you in word and deed. And whatever happens, don't ever let them take you. Period. You resist, they'll take care of the rest. Richie from Boston. I'm out.